Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So this is going to be a very numbers-focused video, just something I was actually looking at the other day. So this is the big blockchain game list that I am sort of operating. It's actually sort of something I started out, and someone else is helping me with it now. But it's basically a public list of a whole bunch of blockchain games. Currently, how many we got? We got something like so 460. Blockchain games that are in development or live, and we just this big list basically of a whole bunch of stuff that may be useful to people. It's not fully complete, so I don't think it is, but we try and make it as complete as possible. But one thing I have been looking at and was actually requested to by someone, and that was looking at the price of tokens. So we obviously over the last certainly last sort of 2 weeks have seen a massive crash in a whole bunch of sort of cryptocurrency pricing, and actually, really, this has been going on since the end of November last year. So we're basically 6 months into a big sort of bear market, I suppose, recession, however you want to call it. Basically, the prices of a lot of tokens sort of peaked, hit their all-time highs in November, end of November 2021, and now sort of something I don't want to take. I don't sort of take too much. I don't take as being too significant, but I think obviously there is significance to some degree, if at least a comparative. So what I've done here, and I have it on this, again, this is not sort of fully complete, but you can see here, we have these columns here. And that's basically what I try and do is I look at any of these blockchain games that have live tokens. There's a whole bunch more that will have live tokens that I haven't sort of double checked, because we keep going through the list and sort of adding things in as we see them, but it's not, we don't sort of spend every day going through this list. There's a whole bunch of data in here. And basically what I've done is if there is a token, I've mentioned it here, and if there is a CoinGecko, I use CoinGecko, obviously Coin Market Cap, also there are other ones available. I've just put a link in so you can go and click through and look at what the token of the price of tanks AOT token is. In that case, I haven't put it in there, I don't know why. But anyway. For the case of this video, you can see I've put a whole bunch in here. So this is the all-time high. So this is how, when the price of the token was at its highest, what was the price? And here is the all-time low. So this was when the price of the token was at its all-time low. How is it now compared? So we can see here, Alien Worlds. I've just updated this now, but currently is about 91% down from its all-time high. Although its all-time high is a bit complicated because exactly how that launched. So we won't go into those details there. But we can see it's 37% up from its all-time low. So we can see here, if you sort of bought the tokens at the all-time high, you'd have lost 91% of your value. If you bought the tokens from the all-time low, you'd be up 37%. So I've sort of done this for a whole bunch of these. You can see, obviously, the red, the minus is in red, and the positive is in green. That's sort of how the convention we use in the West, although actually in China they use the opposite convention, which is a bit confusing. So what we could do is we could sort this list, and we could sort the list for which tokens have lost the most amount of money. So we can see here, Crypto Kingdoms, its King token has lost 99% of its value, and actually a whole bunch of games here have lost 99% of their value. So obviously not great. I'm not really saying anything particularly about these. It may have been they had massive spikes up, and maybe all different reasons why this has happened. But this just gives us some indication. Equally, we could go and see which tokens have performed sort of the least worst. So we can see here that the Gotchaverse, so this is the ghost token from actually Arvagotchi, has only dropped 50%. So that's obviously not great either. But we can see it sort of performed a bit better. I don't know why. Sorry, these are some of these in double significant figures, decimal places. So we can see here the Dogami token is only down 52%. The Aetherless token is only down 54%. You get the idea. And actually, we can see here, this is quite a big game. The Steppen kind of play to move game on Solana. It's only down 66%. Benji Banana's Primate token really only just launched. That's only down 78%. So we sort of get an idea. The other thing, obviously, we can look at, which again, you have to be sort of a little bit careful with these all-time low ones, because it sort of depends a little bit what CoinGecko thinks the lowest price was, and often that's the sort of the price at which it first launched. And CoinGecko is not always very accurate. At least there are examples where I know CoinGecko sort of isn't very accurate when it starts tracking these tokens, because you sort of have to know if they did an IDO, what were people buying the token price at, and it becomes complicated. But I think the broad thing to look at here is, for these top projects, these are very large changes. So I think this is actually quite a good indicator of what's going on here, certainly at least for some of these projects. So the Axie Infinity, although it's down 87% from its all-time high, so this is the AXS token, so it's down, it's down pretty heavily. If you bought, I think the high was $150, and now it's down to like $21. So if you bought at the top, you're going to be pretty annoyed. But if you got in at the start, so the early investors in Axie Infinity, and I think this token, as far as I remember, you could buy the first investors got in at 10 cents, so they bought one AXS token for 10 cents, 10 US cents, and now it's worth $21. So even though it's come down 87% from its all-time high, it's still up, 17,000%. So those initial investors, and even people who sort of bought, I sort of remember back when the price of the AXS token was like 50 cents. And that seemed, no one knew it was going to go up. So if you bought it then at 50 cents and it was now 21 cents, you would have lost sort of a lot from the all-time high if you hadn't sold them, but you'd still be up, a considerable amount. Sandbox, similar. I don't know what the price of the Sandbox token was in terms of people buying early on. I can definitely remember it went up to about $8, I think. And now it's down to whatever it is, like $2, under $2, I think. But still, at least from where CoinGecko was checking this stuff out, it's still up 4,500%. Similarly for ARK, down 97%, so down pretty heavily. Sandbox is only down 84% from its all-time high. Only, it's obviously relative. ARK is down sort of a lot from its all-time high, but for the people who the investors earlier, up 3,000%. So final one here is Step N, which is this move to earn game where you buy sort of a NFT on Solana. It's like a trainer, and then you sort of run around and you earn these GMT tokens. I've not played this myself, I have to say, but you earn these GMT tokens. They've seen massive growth, down 66% from the all-time high, which as you can see is sort of less than some of these other ones, and up 1,200 or 1,300%. So these are the of all these. So I've not got how many have I got here? So I've got like about 50 games that I filled in these for. There may be other ones that I haven't looked at, but we can see here only 4 of them have really done well. I mean, some of these ones they're up 200%, which is generally sort of seen as good, but they're down sort of 95%, which is it really depends on when you bought these tokens, when you acquired these tokens, and even for investors, if you got in very early on, you're up 200%, which is not great, but for the risk of handling cryptocurrency, that's actually some stocks do 200%. So this is not really great, I should say. Clearly, the ones that are great are these ones: Axie Infinity, the Sandbox, Arcade. Interestingly, these are all sort of early projects that have been going for a number of years. That means that they sort of have the prices have sort of risen over time. They've had a bit more of a stable sort of trajectory, even though they are still down these very large percentages. They are not down 99%, because obviously once something goes down to sort of 99%, then you're sort of it can never sort of recover. Even some of these from the all-time low, they're up. This is up almost 200%. But it's down 99%, and I guess it's trying to get the balance of these things that you want to try and do. And the other thing is that a lot of these are sort of. We can also look here. Actually, if we refresh this, something else that's sort of worth noting is these ones here are basically currently at their all-time low, so they're up 0%. So basically, no one's made any money on Crypto Unicorn's Rainbow token. Which is a game that's only really just gone live orally, or Rory, however you pronounce it, on the Solana blockchain. I mean, that game's not live yet, but that's what's happening there. DeFi land, on Solana, Cyball, the kind of their CBT token. So these ones are ones that basically almost no one can make. No one has made any money off these tokens at all, because no matter where you sort of bought them, at least in terms of where crypto CoinGecko thinks the all-time low was, you basically have not made any money, which basically means these are currently at their all-time lows. That's really sort of what's going on here when we look at this broad data. And I think more generally we can kind of see, this is obviously a figment, or not a figment. This is actually a sort of a facet of where we are in cryptocurrency prices. In 6 months' time, this situation will have changed. But even for some of these tokens, if they sort of double in price, they're still going to be down 50% from their all-time high. So in many of these cases, that I think it's fair to say, for the majority of these projects, they will never again reach their all-time high. And even for, I would say, for sort of the Axie Infinities and the Sandboxes, those all-time highs were, although it's sort of dangerous to say, we're sort of speculatively driven. So it wasn't like a fair price, I don't think. And I'm a big fan of both the Sandbox and Axie Infinity, but the all-time highs of those tokens price those projects, higher than most. Any rational sort of debate could be had. So there we go. Just interesting sort of data. I'll put the link into the list so anyone can get access to the list, and obviously you can just copy it and make your own list and mess around with it. So hopefully that's useful for people. And as I say, this is the situation now. Everything may change in future. Not investment advice, all that sort of stuff, but just interesting to get an idea. And we're talking here about sort of 50 games. So there is sort of quite a bit of data around the performance of sort of blockchain games as a sector. And for me, it just makes me think rather nervously about sort of tokens and token prices and how people need to be a lot more careful in launching tokens, because we've basically just seen, similar to the ICO boom of 2018, we've just seen a whole bunch of token value destroyed, and it's not very clear that most of those projects will ever sort of recover from that. Okay, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. See you again soon.